So here it is, the brand new Instant Pot Pro Crisp, upgraded version to last year's Duo Crisp. Both of them, two of the best things Instant Pot ever came out with, because it'll pressure cook and air fry. Well, they also have a sous vide function. And I'm really anxious to see how the Pro Crisp does, and I'm going to go ahead and test the Duo Crisp. I've never done it before. I did have a little bit of an issue with it once before when I tried it, but some subscribers and some viewers have gave me some tips. We're going to try it. I'm going to do those 1.5-inch ribeye steaks, one in the Pro Crisp, one in the Duo Crisp, with hot water from my tap, which will help it come up to temp a little quicker, and we'll see how well it maintains them. I'm John Sanders, also known as Jelly 007. Let's sous vide these steaks. All right, so as you probably already know, we won't be using these lids on either one of them. I'll take those out of here. Instant Pot does call for this lid to be on, although it needs to be vented. I'm about to take these in there where my vacuum sealer is and vacuum seal these two steaks. When I come back, I'm going to put hot water from my tap in both of these, fill both of these liners up halfway, and we're going to get this started. So, be back. Okay, here they are, ready to go. Got them both vacuum sealed. I've got the hottest water I could get out of my tap, which is 124 and 125, 126, close enough. So, now I'm going to select sous vide. I'm going to set this to 130. That's what I cook my steaks at. We're going to leave it at 2 hours. In fact, this one's completely ready. I'll hit start. I'm going to do the same thing right here, which is sous vide. Well, we're already hit this one too. 2 hours for 130. I'm going to hit start. I'm going to set the lids on both of these in the vented position. I'm going to hit start right here. So we'll know I got to vent this one. And we're off and running. So we'll see how long it takes them to get to temperature. And when it does, we're putting these in. Be back. There it goes. Finally, the Pro Crisp has switched on to add, well, and now there goes the Duo Crisp. I'm just going to say it. I don't think it's, I know it didn't take it that long to come up 5 degrees. I feel like it's a timed thing. And they want, you know, maybe they're thinking they want the entire pot and everything to be at temperature for around 30 minutes so that it doesn't vary any. So the next step is, I mean, that's strange that they were just seconds apart, about the time it took for me to turn them both on. Now I want to see how close they are to our 130 mark. So I'll open this one first. And we are, well, I'm happy with that. And like I said, as long as it tracks temperatures, I'm good with it taking 30 minutes. I have no problem with that at all. And before I even put a steak in, let's check the Duo Crisp. And, well, it's a little warm, but for 4 degrees off, take my word, that's not that bad. I mean, that's less than, well, it's about 4%, 3% right there. 33 and 133 over here and 134 over here. I'm good with those temps. I don't have a problem with the temp. So we'll put the steaks in. I'll get the lid back on, and we'll check it and say 30 minutes and see where our temp's at then. But right now, there goes one. There goes the other. I've got to get the lids back on. And by the way, I'll show you, just in case you want to know. There's what they look like in there. They sink. When you use those vacuum seal bags, I swear by them, if you're going to sous vide, it's worth buying one. So, it's probably not going to want to do that because it doesn't have pressure, but it's got hot water. But I have to vent it. I got that one vented. Same thing here. Put that on and vent that one. So, we're off and running. I'll be back in about 30 minutes and we'll take a look at temps in. See y'all. Okay, so we are 20 minutes in, but I did realize a slight boneheaded move I made, which was I would rather have the trivet in there to hold that steak up off the bottom of the liner. So we're going to do a temperature check now at 20 minutes, and then I'm going to lift that steak out, drop these in on both pots. So here we go. And it does try and lock on like you're pressure cooking, but no big deal. We are at, no, I mean, no problem with that at all, y'all. It's 128. Somebody might try and be really critical. That is, to me, I'll put it like this. I don't have a problem with it. I'll put it like that. So, same thing here. 128, 129, 130 actually on this one. So we got 130 on the Duo Crisp, the older model. I'm going to check this one again for the fun of it. 128. Again, I got no problems. I have no problems at all with those temps. I'm going to lift this out of there, and this should have been done in the beginning. I agree. I'm going to go ahead and flip that steak just because this is not a circulator. I'm not saying you need to, but I would. I guess I do. I guess I am saying you need to. Because it's not circulating that water, I think flipping the steak every once in a while and just moving it around is not going to hurt. And now it's off the bottom, which should have been done in the beginning, but there you go. So we'll let another 30 minutes or so go, and we'll check it again. Be back. Well, I thought I might ought to show it. I'm putting the lid back on right now. Again, you have to kind of wrestle with it a little bit, but I'm going to vent that. And I mean, it's heated water, and it is producing, although you don't see it, but it's got, you have to wrestle with it a little bit. In fact, it's probably best to go ahead and vent it and then put it on like that and open it. So we're good. Back on the run. Okay, so we're an hour and a half into the cook. And that's the total time, including the time it took it to come to temp and all. The steaks have been in there for just under an hour, like 57 minutes. I've got meat temps right here. I'm going to explain that in just a second. But right now, let's see where we are at pretty much midway of the cook. And I'm going to ease this off where I don't disturb the water too much. And we are, whoops, 127. Yep, 127, pretty much all the way across. Now I'm going to flip that steak just because what we discussed. This not being a circulator, which is what a lot of sous vide devices are, I think it's best to flip the steak, and you probably could get by without it, especially with that trivet under there, but no need to even check that one again. I'm going to go ahead and put this lid back on to keep me from forgetting it again. So I'm going to set that on, I'm going to vent it, give it a minute to breathe, and then hopefully it's going to cooperate, and there it goes. I'm going to straighten it back up, make sure it's vented. Next is the Duo Crisp, and we'll take this right here off. It seems to be a little bit easier, but I think it's a lot to do with the gasket. Is depending on how new your gasket is, to how easy it slides. So 127, 128, we'll move it across. 128, 129. I'm perfectly good with those temps. And I'm fixing to explain it a little bit right here, just so you'll know. And again, that's really low percentage-wise of being off of what you're calling for of the 130. So let's go ahead and put this back on. And line that up, close it, and vent. All right, now the temps right quick. And this is all to do with how you like your steak, of course. And this, by the way, I better say it, I'm not affiliated with anyone. No one's paying me. This is all out of my pocket. Nothing here is sponsored or whatever you want to call it. But here is the same people that make this thermometer that I like. I like it a lot, but there's a lot on the market that are cheaper. I think everyone needs an instant read thermometer of some type. But now back to what we're talking about. Here's beef, and there you go. Medium rare, 130 to 135. And you can see all of them right here. Medium, 135 to 145, medium well, and so on and so forth. Now, if you ask me, and my steak is say a 130. Well, you can see a rare, what people would cook to a rare would be 120 to 130. So even if, say, that is off and it is only 128, I'm still what people would serve as a upper end of the rare, and I'm good with that. So, I mean, you know, you take that right there and do what you think you need to do with whatever, you know, you want to cook for your person. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can get that to focus a little bit better. I may not be able to, but right there, you can take that right there, maybe make a screenshot of it, and there's all and then out here it says bright red, warm, pink, juicy, rich pink, slightly juicy. Anyhow, maybe make a screenshot of that, but you can also get it at ThermoWorks, and that's where a lot of that's who makes my thermometer. But again, I'm not trying to sell them. I'm not by any means. This one's expensive. It's like $100. You can get them for way less than that. I love that one. If it broke, I would buy another one just like it tomorrow. So be back. We're gonna come back probably another 30 minutes and do a temp read again. See y'all then. All right, we have 30 minutes left in the sous vide part. Just clicked over to 29. I'm going to get a temp read, and then on both of them, of course. Now you can see we're 2 hours and 4 minutes into the total time, but only 30 minutes left on the cook. So we're going to open this up, see what we are. In fact, I got to do something. I got too many things out here. Let's see where we're at on temp. 127, 128, 128. Again, I am fine with that. The temp is, I'll take a steak at 128. So I'm good with that. Although it's set for 130, it's only 128, but just keep that in mind if you're ever using this for a sous vide, that it may be, or yours may be, or may not be 2 degrees cool. All right, here we go on the Duo Crisp. Open this lid as easy as I can without disturbing the water. And we are 128, 129. So 128, 129, I'm absolutely good with that. Now, one thing I got to do is open that back up because I forgot to flip my steak. So there that one goes. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned is that I'm searing in this device right here. I'm going to sear each steak in the one it comes out of. I'm going to use a sear function on both of these, or each one of them, and we're going to see how well they sear. So I got to make sure that's vented, and it is, and you hear it let go of some stuff. So you do want to make sure you vent when you put this lid on, but Instant Pot calls for this lid to be on. So I would not normally, I would rather have a glass lid there just because, but they asked for it in the manual. So that is why I'm doing it. So put this one on and vent and work it. And then make sure it's vented once it's closed. Because as you know, on both of these, once you close the lid, they reseal on their own. So you have to make sure. All right, here's what I'm going to do in a minute. We're going to pull these out and get them opened up right here, get them dried off. I'm going to use avocado oil and do some searing. So be back. Okay, so the cook is almost over, and here's my plan. I'm going to set them out right here. And then eventually I will drain the bags. They'll have juice in them. There goes the Duo Crisp, and this one should be really close behind it. I'll drain the bags right here, and then I'm going to wrap them in here, get them really dried off real well. Then we're going to do stuff with avocado oil. There goes the Pro Crisp. Not a big hurry. Just going to get them out, like I said, kind of dry them off a little bit, and then get them drained. The Duo Crisp, as you know, has a concave bottom, so I kind of got to figure out how I'm going to sear in that a little better. This one's got the flat bottom. It should do a little better. So anyhow, let's do that. Let's get it open. In fact, we'll take a temp reading, come to think of it, right now. I'll set this right here. I moved the camera to the side a little bit, hopefully to where I could work a little better with all this going on. Here we go. Ended up at 127. but again, 128. 128 pretty much. Everyone, I saw a 129, but again, it's just not, I'm good with a degree or two. And again, if you're worried about that, set it a little high. All right, we're going to see what this one is, just because we can and because we should. 28, we'll come across it. And 27 to 28. So a couple of degrees low on both of them. One of them a little closer than the other, but believe me, not enough to worry about. So we're going to keep this one on the left, of course, and there's the juices I'm talking about that I'm going to drain into this bag. I mean, into this bowl with a paper towel I got here. And we'll keep this one right here. But I've got to get those dried out, this dried off. I've got to pour all the water out, get them dry, and then we'll have to bring them up to our sear, get set to sear, and do all that. So I'm going to get these drained out, leave those sitting just like that, and be back in just a second and we'll start the rest of this. Okay, so I set the steaks back there and pulled the Instant Pots up a little closer where you can see in there and hopefully, you know, get an idea of what's going on. I'm going to try, we'll say 1 tablespoon of avocado oil. I think that'll be good right there, but so you'll have an idea, and that's one of the reasons I pulled them up. You'll see what that one does. It'll run off to the side. So my intention is to brush these steaks with that brush right there with a little bit of avocado oil. And I'm not, like I said, it's going to be tricky. So the other thing is, it's going to make a little smoke, because when you sear, I normally do it outside. I normally do it on a cast iron skillet I got. But tonight, right here, just so you'll know how well it will do it. So get my act together and I'll be back. Okay, so I've about decided to try and do 1 steak at a time. There's no way I'll be able to keep up with searing 2 steaks at a time. So I'm going to get it started and we'll see how it does. I'm going to do this one first because it's a new one. I want you to see how I think it's going to do better because of that flat bottom. And you saw the oil, and I'll show it to you one more time. There's what it looks like before I turn it on, because I want to show it to you again once it gets hot. Saute, and you press it again, and then you have high, or if you press this, you can change it from custom to high to low. Well, you know what? We'll just go custom. I'm going to press that, and then once that starts flashing, you can go all the way to 6. I'm pretty sure, yep, 6 is as high as you can go. I'm going to hit start, and now I've got to get this steak ready, and that's what I'm about to do. It may take it a few minutes to come up to temp, but the main thing we want is the steak ready. And whether you would salt and pepper it right now, yes, you probably should. Just because I'm just going to do it like this right here. It's not going to help. It'll help dry it. I mean, it's not going to hurt. I said not going to help. It'll help dry it a little bit, maybe, but I got a few minutes before this comes up to temp. But right there is about all mine's getting. Now, it'll get some pepper, but my point is, this doesn't have anything to do with how to season a steak. 377, 384. I'm pretty close to calling this ready. So there's 388. I am fixing to drop this steak. So I'm going to move a few things because it's going to splatter even out of that tall. That is one good thing about searing in an Instant Pot or any type device like this. You got a little sidewall to kind of help some of it. So there it goes. And you can see it in action right there. So I'm going to get this right here and we'll let it sit there just a minute or so. I just want to make sure I get a little bit of oil all the way around, but there comes some of that splatter you have to be careful with. Okay, so while that one's going, and I'm pretty close to taking a look at it, but I want to go ahead and get this one started to searing. So there's saute on low. We want it on high, so you press saute again, then you hit start. So I'm going to have to kind of get a little busy. I'm going to take a look at this one just to see, just because, and it does not look bad. I hope you can see that. It's really hard for me to do. But I'm going to put that back in just like it was. I want it to stay there just a minute longer because it's cooked. You understand? I mean, I hope you do. It's cooked. It just needs browning or searing, sauteing as they call it on there. But it kind of does, a lot of the flavor comes from that right there. And as you can see, they're not the prettiest things on earth right now. And by the way, here is what I used. I'm going to turn this a little bit so you can see it. This is about how much pepper I'm putting on it. It's not a lot. Again, it's got nothing to do with the seasoning. It's all about trying to sous vide in an Instant Pot. So let's take a look at this one. And I'm good with that. I'm going to show it to you. That looks good. Right now, we're going to go ahead and flip it just to keep me from messing up. But I'm going to tell you something. That's almost perfect. So, a little bit of salt on this one. As that heats up a little bit. Now, I may end up, I'm going to have to brush that, in fact, I think that's what'll work. I'm going to brush that avocado oil around a little bit in this in the bottom of this one, because it's, like I said, got a concave on it. So, this might get a little bit busy, but we're all right with it. I can do it. I can make it happen. So, I'm going to hold this right here and this. And I'm going to brush this around just a little bit and take a temp reading. Put that right there. And find my temp gun, which is over here. That tripod adds a lot to cooking, trying to walk around it. Let's see what we got. We're nowhere near right now. We're 237. So I'm gonna move that around a little bit and I'll let you look in there. And this is gonna add a little time to the video. I'm gonna move this back and we're gonna pull this one out. And out it comes. And we'll look at it one more time. But I think, in fact, whoops, I gotta move it there. I'm gonna put it right there. All right, it's telling me it's ready. I heard it beep. And like I said, I'll have to edit some of this. Yeah, we're still, well, there you go, 375. I saw 375 there for a minute. We're really close to it. It's smoking, so that's really what matters. A lot of time trying to read that shiny surface just isn't that accurate. So in it goes. I'll show you the inside of this one. That's how it looks. But again, this concave is the issue. I mean, you got to kind of move the steak around to keep oil, to get some oil on it. So I may have to do it when I flip it again. I'll have to do the same thing, but let's take a look at it, just see what it looks like. And it does not look bad. There you go. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good looking sear. I mean, I don't see a problem with it. I almost want to add a little oil, but I think I'll just move it around and get it kind of coated on one side. And by the way, it's not smoking near as bad as I was concerned with. So, we're on the second side of that one, and you can see it's only been in there a couple of minutes. And there goes the minute. I'm good. We're gonna pull this out and cut it. Oh yeah, that's it right there. So, I'm gonna turn this off. We are good. Anyhow, you see how well they did, and you saw the temps. The temps are perfect. I mean, as far as sous vide, that's all you can ask for. I mean, it was off a couple of degrees, maybe. Easy fix. You just adjust it. It was consistent. My main point, it was consistent because it stayed either 1 or 2 degrees below, and one of them was even closer than that. But the point is, nothing wrong with it. And you can see that one looks good on both sides, and so does this one. And this one here's set here a little bit, so that's why it's got a little more on the table than that one does, or on the board. And we're gonna let them both sit there just a minute, and then I'm gonna cut it. So I'll be back. All right, it's time to cut them. Of course, this is the one from the Pro, which again, it's a degree difference, so it really doesn't matter. Now, one thing I will say, you got a 3-hour total cook time. I will say you could lower that. Maybe you don't need to do 2 hours of cook, but on 1.5 inches, I usually do. So we're going to just take a look right here. I'm just going to cut that one right here, right there, and right there. And in fact, we'll go out this one right here this way. That is edge to edge. There's nothing wrong with it. I love sous vide steaks. You can tell that it is tender. I don't have to tell you. You can tell by looking and by the way it's cutting. It's a good looking piece of meat. We'll cut this one the same way. We'll do this one like this, like that. And I got to move it a little bit. We got to make for good pictures. And then I'm going to taste it. But I got to make some pictures right quick. So right there is what you can expect from sous vide. And it'll be the best steak. I mean, it's time consuming. You see it over there, 3 hours. It's not anything quick. But it'll be one of the best steaks you'll ever eat and cooked at your house. In my opinion, it really is. But it is a little time consuming. So I'm going to make my little YouTube pictures and stuff and come back and we'll do a little taste test. Be back. Okay, so I'm calling this over. I'm going to tell you something. As you can see, I've already tasted it. It was absolutely excellent, as sous vide steaks always are. It's a little time consuming, but for the best steak you'll ever cook at your house, I got to say sous vide. And both these devices did an excellent job. A little time consuming again, and you might could do it a little faster with, say, a circulator. But if you just want to learn how to, if you want to try sous vide, and you got one of these, there's no doubt. Anyhow, hey, I love y'all all. If you don't mind, hit me with a thumbs up if you learned anything. Y'all come back to see me, and bye-bye.